Hi guys. Okay, the much awaited bang cutting tutorial. So here we go. First thing you want to do is you're gonna have to figure out how much you're gonna cut. Okay, so maybe that's not a very clean parting, but maybe you can see that you pretty much want to make like a little triangle. It's up to you how, I guess, full you want your bangs. So mine start pretty far back. I have a really, really full bang. So if you don't want that severe of a bang, maybe take a little bit less, maybe like that much. Okay, and then you're gonna get the rest of your hair out of the way. So I guess that'll kind of help you with like how it's gonna look once you style it, you know. So get the rest of your hair out of the way and just pretend that what you chose is gonna be the bang, okay? So like maybe you're like more comfortable with that much. The other thing is, like, when you style your hair, you know, if I was wearing my hair like this today, then I can tuck some of my bangs up into my bun. It's not like I always have to wear all of my bangs. You know, you can play around with it. So you don't want to cut them wet because they're going to shrink up. And you don't want to cut them totally dry the way your hair was styled, because let's say your hair was parted and you were wearing it, you know, like how you normally wear it, then you're gonna cut these dry pieces and there's gonna be no like memory to the shape of a bang, or the memory is gonna be how you were wearing your hair before you cut it. So if your hair was parted, you know, and normal, then you're gonna have that split just like hanging out there. So here's what you're gonna do to alleviate that. You're going to wet this area and then dry it. So you're gonna cut the bangs dry, because if you cut them wet, they're gonna be longer. They're gonna be longer than they would normally be, because wet hair is very elastic. So especially if you like pull it down like this and they're wet, you're gonna get a false feeling of where they're going to like dry up to. And if you just cut them dry, they're not gonna be really like a realistic fall to where they're gonna be. Okay, that was confusing. So here's what you would do. Maybe take a little extra just to be safe, you know? So section that out, get this out of the way, and you could just like take a shower if you want and wet your whole hair. And then you're gonna take everything forward like this. Now pretend this is wet. You're gonna take everything forward like this and you're gonna blow dry it all forward. And then if you want, you can use a brush too. So if you use a bigger brush, this is like a 2-inch brush or like an 1.5-inch brush, you're gonna create a little bit of bend. So just something like this. Now your bangs aren't cut yet. This is just your normal hair. Okay, something like that. Now, a couple bits of advice. Try to keep your brush around your eyebrow area. And what that's gonna do is it's just going to create a little bend on the ends of your hair like that, and it's gonna smooth it out a little bit. But you may also end up with this flat spot and then the bubble. So you can section this little half up and you can kind of get a little more lift up there. But I don't encourage you to take your brush and start going like all up like this, because it's gonna lift your bangs a ton. You're gonna get a bunch of like lift up and through here, and that's not really the look. That's not really the look I wear. So if you're trying to imitate my bangs, that's not what you're gonna do. You're gonna end up with a big bubble. Okay, so you wet your front of your hair, you've brushed it all forward. I know your hair's in your face right now. You dried it. Now you're gonna take your comb and kind of, whoopsie, I'll use this one, and kind of like figure out where you want your bangs to be. So, you know, like use your natural, shake your head, use your natural hair, like where it falls, you know, where are you gonna be comfortable with it? And then get the rest of the hair out of the way. Okay, so you're at this point. Just getting this out of the way, and you have your section of where you're gonna cut. I was gonna say a couple things to you because I don't know if you're planning on maintaining these bangs, but a couple little words of advice. Bangs need to be trimmed about every 2 to 3 weeks. So if you are not the kind of person that can figure this out to do it at home, or you don't have easy access to someone who can do it for you, like me, or you just don't want that much maintenance for your hair, don't cut your bangs, please. Oh my God, because if your hair is like to your chin, like your first layer, which isn't even that long, and you're cutting your bang up to here, that's like 6 inches, that's like a year's worth of growth, a year. So if you cut this, those pieces are gonna be falling in your face, bothering you for a year. And if your hair is longer than your chin, it's like 2 years, unless you have like super fast growing hair and your bangs just grow away quickly. Like that does happen to some people, but all right. So now you've got this section of your hair decided on. Here you go. And this is where your bangs are gonna be. So the first thing you're gonna do is you are going to bring it to the middle. You're gonna kind of squeeze it together like this. Now, I wanna show you a couple things. One thing is the elevation. So you're gonna be cutting these hairs. If you're holding your fingers up like this is the elevation where it is on your head. If you're holding your fingers up here like this and you're cutting, okay, you're diffusing the line because when you drop it back down, these pieces are gonna be shorter and these pieces are gonna be longer. So you wanna keep it, you almost wanna have your finger touching your forehead. You need to keep it close because that's the only way you're gonna get a realistic line. If you cut it up here, it's like layers actually. It's gonna drop down and it's gonna be all different lengths at the bottom. So you're gonna pull it to the middle. This is like simplified. Why do you pull it to the middle? Okay, because the distance here is gonna be the shortest for these hairs. And from your hairs over here that go all the way to the middle, you're essentially over directing them longer, okay? So when you cut it all in the middle like this and then you let it go, these pieces will be a little bit longer because they had to travel farther to get to that spot where this is gonna be the shortest. Same thing if you wanted a side bang. You would take it all the way to the side like this, right? And if you cut it over here, these pieces that travel all the way over here are gonna be the longest. And these pieces are gonna be the shortest. So you can do that either way. Okay, so you're gonna come to the middle and you're gonna hold it all together tightly like this. You're gonna keep your finger to your forehead. And okay, now just to show you, like perspective wise, if my head is straight and my finger is at my eyebrows and I'm holding my hair pretty taut to my head, this is where my bangs kind of fall, I guess, at the bottom of my eyes, like right at the bridge of my nose. Now, when I let that go and I style them and spread them out a little bit and hit them with a blow dryer, they are definitely past my eyebrows. They're longer than my eyebrows. They're kind of even with my eyelids, but look how much they shrunk up from where they were when I dragged them together. See where my finger is? They went up like almost an inch. So I guess you wanna give yourself a little leverage in case you cut a little too much. That if they shrink up, you don't end up with like a micro bang. Okay, so if you want them to be, you know, below your eyebrows but above your eyelids, which is kind of like what I would consider like the Goldie Hawn, like full bang kind of that I have, you're gonna want to cut around the bridge of your nose. So that's pretty much where they're gonna be. If you cut them at your eyebrows, they're gonna shrink up and they're gonna be like up here. So then you're gonna look like Dora the Explorer. Okay, so that's pretty much what you do. You wanna use the sharpest scissors that you possibly have. Now you probably don't have hair cutting scissors, but maybe you have like something that's not like a kitchen scissor or like your kid's Crayola scissors, like something decent, like nail scissors, I don't know, something sharp. And your hair is dry, not wet, because if it's wet and then you cut it and then you go dry it, it's gonna shrink up a ton. Okay, so pull them to the middle, down to like the bridge of your nose, okay? Now mine aren't perfectly even. And then you're gonna hold your scissors this way, okay? And you're gonna go right across. I have some stragglers, so I'll just cut those and just kind of cut that line straight across. But the reason that your scissors are angled like this is because if you cut like this, you're gonna get a very blunt line. And the whole reason why the bangs are attractive and work is because they shift and they move in the wind, and you can like pull them to the side one day and pull them to the other side, or like, you know, you can style them differently. So they have movement. So when you cut just straight across like that, you're not gonna have movement. So what you wanna do it in a mirror. Don't try to do it with your eyes. You know, you're not gonna be able to see this. Cut like you're looking in a mirror. Okay, so, you know, cross like that, and then let them go and see how they're gonna look. So like if you like the length, don't worry about the texture yet, because I'm gonna get to that. But if you like the length that they are, then leave them. If you don't, then pull them back together to the middle and cut a little bit more, a little bit more, but always do it flat to your forehead in the middle. Now, depending on like your hairline, your growth pattern, you might end up with some of these pieces that like don't really make sense. See, like that's weird. Okay, most of that is styling. Like obsessing about going in about each little piece and trying to get them perfect. No, your bangs are gonna look different every single day. They're gonna look different if you blow dry them, if you air dry them, if you flat iron them. It's gonna matter what shampoo you use, if you put conditioner in them, if you put product, like it's gonna matter if you slept on them. They're going to look different every day. So please do not obsess about tiny little hairs like that not making sense, because it's just go with it. So if there is a couple of hairs that are bothering you, you can isolate that area. And again, just kind of like pull it together and pull it down close to your face. And if there's little pieces, like maybe I just want to cut that piece just a little bit because it's a little too long. There. I just did what I told you not to do, which is trying to do it with your eyes, because I don't have a mirror in front of me. So if you like the length, now I like having a little of this like face framing on the side. So that's your preference. I don't really like when they go like right across like this, short like this. I like when they kind of like frame around my eyes. So that's a preference. Okay, if you like the length, then here's what you're gonna do. Now you're gonna take them back because you're not taking off length anymore, but now you're gonna texturize. So you're gonna pull them together and you're gonna keep your finger to your forehead. Now you're going to take the scissors and you're going to cut in like this. And you're gonna notch out some of the weight and texture. Okay, so like this. Just kind of in the ends, and don't be scared. I don't really need to do too much of this because I just trimmed mine, so they don't really need it. But you just kind of are gonna go in straight in like this and take out some of the texture. See what I'm doing? Just taking out some of the weight. So that line at the end gets a little diffused. Don't mind my dogs barking. I think someone is pulling it. Named my husband. Okay, so you've taken out a little bit of weight like that. Okay, now a couple more ways to take out weight. Now you're gonna take your comb and you're going to, you have to get this section into your fingers. This is a little challenging on yourself. You have to get this section kind of in your fingers this way. Does that make sense? Like this, so you can see where it's heavy. Okay, I don't really know how to explain that any better. Okay, so you basically just wanna, I guess just kind of like lift it off of your face a little bit. See, even this is hard for me to do, and also my hair is really clean. It's really hard to do with clean hair. So you're just gonna kind of like use your fingers tightly and kind of pull it up like this. And you're gonna do the same thing. You're going to cut into that section with your scissors perpendicular to your fingers. See how this is? Not like this, not like this. That's gonna take off length. Into it, straight into your fingers. Don't cut your fingers, but just, you know, notch out some texture right there. Okay, so do that. And then you're gonna do it on the sides. So you're gonna take this. Okay, now before you do it, the motion would be like, picture when your hair is like feathered. That's, feathered hair doesn't have a lot of weight to it. There's no like straight line. So you're gonna pretend like you're feathering it off to the sides, and that's what's gonna remove some of the weight here. So you're gonna go to both sides. And all this is doing is taking the weight out of that bottom line so that you have like a nice, soft, playful bang. Okay, so you're gonna go one side. So you're gonna see there's the, try to keep it all. There's the line, and you're gonna cut into it, right? Same thing, and then you're gonna go this way. Just hold it in your fingers and just kind of cut into it like that. Now, if you have a thinning shear or a texturizing shear or something like that, this is really helpful because it's gonna take out notches of hair without you having to go in and do it like that. Cause you know, that's a skill that you don't do, you know, hairdressers do it, but trying to cut into a section like that is not easy. So if you have something that looks like this, use it. And I'll just repeat that again. So you're just gonna take it to one side. If you have this kind of scissor, just cut the ends like that. And then go to the other side. And then kind of, you know, see how these ends are just kind of textured? They're not, no hard line. Okay, so, and then the final thing, if you need it, if you're feeling really heavy right here, you're just gonna take this section, which is kind of the top layer of the bangs, and you can lift it straight up like this, and you can either use your texturizing shears and just take a little bit out of there, or if you have your regular scissors, you can cut into that and create some texture. And what that's gonna do is take this part that kind of lays over the top and just lighten it up. So then you end up with, you know, movement and texture through there. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. Then take your brush. Like I said, bigger brush will be a little straighter. Smaller brush is gonna give a little more bend. So if you want my kind of look, then I would go for like a 2-inch brush and just kind of smooth them out. Just quickly like this. Don't go crazy. Just play with it with your fingers a little bit. And that is pretty much how I do my bangs. Now, the final thing you can do, and it depends on your haircut, but you can incorporate it into your hair a little bit. So like if you're planning on wearing your hair down or something like that, then you can take some of these hairs around your face and kind of blend them in a little bit so that it makes sense with your haircut. So you don't have like bangs and then hair, but that's up to you. If you're gonna do that, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna kind of like trace around the bang, maybe behind it, like a ½ inch or so, right? And take those hairs, just kind of like what's right behind it, and kind of combine those together. Now, you'll see me like holding this up because anytime you hold hair up, the higher the elevation, like away from the way it naturally grows, the softer the line is. If you're cutting it down here, you're gonna end up with really hard lines. So because you're doing this and you really don't know what you're doing, always cut everything up like this so it's soft. Okay, now mine are already cut, but if you wanted to, you would just kind of cut into that a little bit. And what that's gonna do when you bring them down is it's gonna give you like a little more of this frame kind of thing. So, you know, if you pull your hair back, you can kind of pull some soft pieces down around your face like that. Or you can just take them down where you want them and take your scissors and kind of open them up like this, and then use this part right here to just kind of slide down. Be very careful. If they're not sharp, you're gonna like just drag it along your hair and make a mess. But you know, just kind of do one of these and just ever so slightly close them, and that'll just give you like tiny little cuts, which will just give you all these little face frame soft pieces. You may already have them. Some hair textures already have short pieces around their face, like mine. I don't really cut these, but I have fine hair, so they just kind of do their own thing. Okay, so that's it. And good luck to you. There's your bangs. Play with all sorts of different styles or whatever. This is my quarantine style. It's called I'm Not Going Anywhere, so we're doing a messy bun. But yeah, so that's it. Oh gosh. Just don't cut your bangs, but good luck.